Hello, welcome to the next in the series of videos showing you how you can use Db2 administration tool to administer all your Db2 needs. In a previous video, we showed you how to make changes using the ALT command. And in that video, we saw how we were going to change the primary key and then having to change the index. So in this video, we're going to take that change and we're going to play it into another environment using object comparison tool. So if we have a look at the tables we have the PK tab with the schema of Tom D, and the PK tab with the schema of TS6462. As you see, they're in different databases as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to use object comparison tool to make the changes to TS6462 that we made previously to the Tom D schema. Okay, let's go into object comparison tool. So option C, and this is the main screen. So the way we work this is that we specify the source, which is the new table. We specify the old well, in this case, table. It could be a database. It could be table spaces. And we specify the old one, and there are obviously differences in the schema. And if we just run that, then we'd get lots of drops and recreates. We'd end up with a duplicate. So we can specify a mask where we ignore some things. For example, in this case, we're going to ignore the database name because we don't want it to move databases. And we'll have a look at the mask in a minute. Then you can specify fields to ignore. You could ignore object creator, for example, primary quantities, etc. And then we're going to generate the job. So let's start here. So option one, this is where, remember, where we're specifying the source. So we can take it from a DDL file. So for example, if you've got a DDL generator like Irwin or something, then you could have that as an input. The source could be from the Db2 catalog, which is what we're going to use, and it's generally the major case. Or the source is from a compare version file. So a version file is like a snapshot of when we started this process. So we're going to select option 2, and we're going to say what the object is. So we're going to have a table and a version table. So we're going to specify a version that we're going to use, and this is going to be video 7 source. Now you could store these in a data set. I prefer to store them inside the Db2 catalog because if you're going to recover Db2 for any reason, or a DR situation, then it comes automatically. And you can give it optionally a description. So option 3, and you're presented with the screen. Similar screens for databases, table spaces, etc. And I'm going to insert in here. So I'm going to the partial table name was PK tab, and there we go. The two schemas. So I'm going to select this one, and it is added to the list. I can go adding more if I need to be. So that's how the source is defined. If you come up here, you then go through if you notice on here, the table extract specified. So it's telling you that you're going through and you're progressing. So the incomplete is here. So let's go and do the target. Very, very similar process. But in here, you can see the target is from the Db2 catalog and the objects are automatically selected based on the selected source object. So it can automatically select the correct source if you want to do it that way. So, but I'm going to go option 2 in the catalog, very similar screen. And this is so just fill in some of the details and then press enter. And again, I'm going to do an insert PK tab. It fills in the location for you, but you could change that. And I'm going to use this one here. So again, added. So now we've got to let the tool know what changes it needs to make to make the comparison successful. If you do get your mask wrong, it will be very obvious in the reports, because you'll find that you're dropping hundreds of things and you're creating hundreds of things, or there are no matches. So it's quite easy to spot that. But the mask is shareable. So once you've done it once, you can then go and share. So I'm going to go and look up and show you how to. So these are the masks. I see there's quite a few there, and this is the one that I've created from here. So if we have a look at the mask lines, so I'm going to change the date of birth name from Tom D to DS6462DB, and I'm going to change the name, owner, and schema to cover it. The order can be quite important. For example, name covers DB name as well. But so if I put name first, then it would change everything to Tom D, and then the DB name wouldn't have found anything. So the order can be important. And if you want to know the hierarchy, if you press the F1, you can see here what you can do with the mask. And so that just tell it what the changes are going to be. And I just need to put a plus next to it to select it, and then the mask is specified. Now the ignores will be just a list of this one. I've already selected it, so the database is the owner's own type, etc. And if you wanted to change something, you can go into update and you can select ones. This one I've set up for this example. So now we've defined everything and we need to submit the job. So we've done steps 1 to 4, and now we just need to generate the compare job. So option 5, and hit enter. And here we have the options that we have. So the first one is the work statement list name. This will, if you're generating a work statement list, will become the work statement list name. Or if you're using JCL and data sets, then it'll be the middle qualifier for DSNs. Next option is to press the drop of objects. If you're just trying things out, or you just want to see what will happen first, then you can do suppress the drop objects. And if you encounter something in your environment that is already there, then you don't need to drop it. Next is PDS for the job name. So this is where you're going to put the output from the JCL and the prefix name for the any data sets you will be creating. Now, change reporting options, I set this to yes, and you'll get another pop-up screen that shows you what you're going to be having. So it will list up all the options. I tend to set them all to yes, just to see what you're going to be getting. And then eventually you'll start turning them off, because a lot of messages are generated, for example, showing the exceptions, showing the system generated ignores, that type of thing. And you'll eventually start turning those off. Now, I'm generating one job. I could generate multiple jobs for each path. So if I was doing unloads and loads, they'd be in separate ones. So I could look at doing some parallelism if I wanted to. Work statement list we looked at before, but I want to show you what happens with the JCL. And content of all the applied jobs. So I've got all of DDL. Now I know this is just going to be a DDL, but I've put data in there so we can save some of the data. If it was a drop table or anything that was generated, it would do the unload and it would generate the loads as well. If we page down now, we will see the next screen. So let's press enter to set that off. And these are the reports that I've said. So the ones that tend to get turned off first are the system generated and the object specific. So slowly work through them if you want to. All right. For the applied jobs, I'm going to put it in video 7 JCL. And this is a job that's generated. So what it's going to do, it's going to do the gen of the SQL, and we're just going to generate all the DDL into files. We're going to compare them, and then we're going to build all the jobs that are needed. So if we just submit this, and we'll go and have a look at the output. So nip over to SDSF, and it's finished. So what we got here? So we have the connections to Db2. So this is all the generate that is run. A report to tell you that it found a version with that name on it, and it's going to be replacing it. The mask that you used, but the most important one is this compare. So this is where it's going to tell you what has changed. So first off, as you can see, we've got the translation mask down here that we've used. Here are all the fields ignored when comparing source. So an S means system, U means user. So again, there we go. So you can see why I say system will probably be turned off first. And here's a comparison. So the video 7, source, target, where it was, what release it was, etc. Key information. So, and here's the compare. So it's found the table. It's comparing Tom D to 6462, and it's realized that an A for alter is going to have to drop the primary key. Then it's going to have to add a primary key back. You can notice it's got the extra column that we put in there. And then it's compared the index, and it's realized that you're going to have to append onto that index to make it all correct. And the summary report is telling you what is going to happen. So it's going to alter the table and alter the index. And here's a count of what it's done. So if we go over to the data sets, we'll see some of the data sets that are generated. So I call them all video 7. So you can see the DDL that's been changed. So it's going to alter the index, it's going to alter the index to add. Then we're going to do the alter the table. There's the drop to the primary key, and in here we have the admin, the way admin sees things. So that's exactly what we're going to do, and very similar to what was in the work statement list that we did for the original. If we go and have a look at the JCL, we have this extra member in here now, and this is the one that is going to go and do the change. So we do an unload to save the data away, just in case anything was to go wrong, and for safety. We could turn that off, but and then we've got the drop, and then we've got the recreate. So if we submit this, okay, so that job has just finished, and we can see here that everything has run successfully. So if we now jump back to the catalog and go and have a look at that table. So these are the tables. We have the same number of columns. If we have a look at XC, we'll see that the index has changed as well. So that change has now all been complete and has finished successfully. So that's how you can use the object comparison tool to promote or change other of your schemas to meet your master, if you like. And as I said before, we create version files, and they're like snapshots. If you had to back out, you could use the version files to back out. You see there are places to specify version files. And if you want to know what compare versions we use, as I said, we've kept them inside Db2, so we could go and look at for those as you would any other table. So we have database ADB and CSG. If we go into tables here, you can see that we have ADB CV version. And if we have a look in here, video, so there are the two that we've got. And if we wanted to have a look to see what the lines were in there, I'm 601 was one of them. So this is all the information that was taken from there. So again, we're still inside Db2, and you could look through there for version files, see what the scope was, see what was being compared. Okay, so that's object comparison tool, using it to promote a change that we made via the ALT command. And in another video, we'll be looking at how to use the change management system, where we can control changes, prereqs, superseding prereqs, controlling changes, making recoveries. So we'll have that in a later video. Okay, thank you very much, and enjoy.